client isn't investing in you for a yes man.
On today's podcast, we've got Kirk Miller, the founder of the world's leading Built to Last program.
People, in my opinion, don't transform or can't stay in shape.
We discussed how Kirk went from failed professional football player to the front cover of Men's Health.
I struggled massively with my identity.
He broke down exactly how to build a world-class team, service that gets life-changing results.
Our plan, our program, our service, our systems, our community is to make sure that anyone who comes on my ship, they have zero excuses.
We discuss pricing and packaging and how Kirk's able to charge thousands to help some of the most successful people on this planet.
If you can afford to pay business and first-class flights, you've got the money to look after your health and fitness.
We hope you enjoy this episode. Kirk Miller, welcome to the Fitness Marketing Agency podcast. Thank you for coming down. Can you just tell everyone a little backstory about yourself, how you got started in the fitness industry, and then fast forward to what you're doing right now?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me. Secondly, I've been someone who's been obsessed with health and fitness as long as I could walk, talk and kick a football. That's where the first passion started, with kicking a ball when your dad puts a ball at your feet. And the original dream, Ben, was to be a professional footballer. Very, very long story short, that dream was going super smooth up until the age of 20 when I had a 30-second conversation by Gary McAllister, very famous Scottish international. He'd done everything in football I probably wanted to do in terms of winning championships, player of the year and all this type of stuff, play for his country. And I get told in a 30-second conversation, unfortunately, your services are no longer required and you're not getting another contract. So that's where the passion for health and fitness first started, via football and all aspects of training and learning about food and stuff, trying to pursue as a professional footballer. And then, very simply put, from that, Ben, I got lost in life then for about 6 years, retrained as a gas engineer, a plumber, so from the age of 20 to 25/6, even though I'm ripped, because that was my only security blanket, you see, Ben. You know, I'm the guy that's been in shape, and my only area of significance and happiness really during that 5-6 year period was training. I was totally lost as a plumber, because with the greatest respect to all any plumbers potentially listening to this, I went on this earth to be a plumber. So I struggled massively, Ben, with my identity, because I attached my whole identity to being a footballer when it was what I did, not who I was. And looking back, even though I probably should have went straight into personal training, coaching after getting released by Coventry, it was too obvious. It was like the pain of getting told for the first time in your life you're not good enough. Didn't steer me in the direction of personal training. It was just too obvious. Even though looking back, I was one of the players at Coventry who loved training in the gym all the time, loved working out. But I mean, this was like 20 years ago. I'm 40 now. It wasn't really seen as a serious career, I don't think, at that point as well. So maybe that was another subconscious reason of not going into coaching. And then after 5 or 6 years being lost in life, living for the weekend, it's been stuck in that career. I entered a men's health competition. At the age of 26, I got pushed by a friend who was bored of me looking at this magazine and literally saying to her and all my friends, "Oh God, I've got a better body than that guy. I could be on that cover." So she entered the competition for me. She literally wrote 250 words, submitted pictures for me on my behalf, which, just shows you, Ben, how sort of lazy, lost and despondent I was really at that time. She entered it for me. I made the final, but there's a big but here. I basically missed a phone call because I was fitting a toilet in the job that I didn't like. I had a voice note to say, "Kirk, you've made the men's health final. Can you call us back?" I thought they'd call me back. I called them back about a week later. And I remember to this day, it was Claire Matthews. She says, "Kirk, you've made the men's health. You did make the men's health final, Kirk, but fortunately, we've had to give you place to someone else." So picture the scene. I'm in this job that I hate, and this is a potential outlet, and a breakthrough to, potentially do something I love. And I basically messed it up because I missed a phone call. So I'm then thinking, what do I do? Kept training for another year in that plumbing job as well. Still stayed in shape. As I said, that's one thing I've always prided myself on, Ben, of staying in shape. And then a year later, Sonia, the same friend, says to me, "Kirk, I think you should enter that again." And for those unfamiliar with how the men's health competition used to work, thousands of people used to enter that every single year, and they had literally a yearly cover model competition. So when she says to me, enter it again, I'm thinking there's no way they're going to pick me again after messing it up the previous year. Anyway, long story short, she pushed me forward for it again. She wrote another 250-word write-up, submitted the pictures, and thankfully, I pick up the phone. I answered the phone call this time, and I suppose the rest is history, really. Forget the external side of things of winning a men's health cover model competition and the opportunities that led on to, I'm sure will unpack. That was when the penny dropped. Like the universe is telling you here, follow your passion, follow your purpose here. You're not on this earth to be a plumber, and surely there has to be a profession for me to help people with their health, their fitness, their body, etc. And retrained then as a personal trainer, got my qualification, and quit my job, Ben, with literally 5 hours personal training. So it was a massive risk, like literally a massive risk. Bearing in mind as well, at that point, because I was living for the weekend, I had no savings, and I was skint, to put it bluntly. I literally didn't have a vehicle to get around. So I started my personal training career borrowing a friend's plumbing van, which kept breaking down, just in case I might have had to do some plumbing work, while I was building up my personal training. Thankfully, within 2 weeks, I had a full diary, which generally happens when you're following your passion, you're good at it, and you're being congruent with yourself, opportunities to happen. Got busy very, very quickly with personal training, become the big fish in a small pond pretty quickly in Coventry, personal trained for a number of years, realised there's only so much you can do in the gym. And looking back, I was a glamorised motivator, even though I was pretty good at it, helping people in the gym. I didn't have what I have now, which is the infrastructure outside the gym to really help people with the real challenges they have, which is the food, the lifestyle management, the mindset, etc. And with that in mind, I knew in order to help more people, I needed an online business. And maybe after about 6 years of personal training, that's when I started online training. But I'm sure we'll impact it today. I was completely winging it, didn't have a clue, didn't have no systems, no model, no structure. It was just a diet plan, training plan, and I think I was doing weekly calls, but I didn't have a clue about business. I didn't have a clue about how to scale and give a great service. And then that's when, I got mentorship. I've had mentors of different people, but Phil Graham helped me immensely in terms of building a proper model. Moved then from Coventry to London. Still personal training, some really high profile clients. But then with Phil's help and learning more about business, fast forward to where I am now, over the last, I'd say 5 or 6 years in particular, really niching down, into the specific demographic I'm working with, and evolving with service and team and things like that. Where I'm at now is I firmly believe my business, my service, our program is the best on the planet in terms of helping entrepreneurs, executives and business owners to get and stay in the best physical and mental shape of their lives without compromising their lifestyle. And we've evolved very much so into a health and lifestyle management business where, the minimum requirement now of our delivery, our service, is to get clients in great physical shape, but it's the emotional side, the mental side where we really help clients too, and really help them stay healthy as well as look good. And as our program name, Built to Last, create lasting change across all them different facets of the physical, the emotional, the mental, and lifestyle management. For me, that's where the real coaching comes in.
I've seen this firsthand. So maybe 6 weeks ago, I was at one of your live events at the Mayfair Hotel in London. There was 80 or so of your clients in the room, maybe more. Can you just break down and sort of tell everyone who's either watching this on YouTube or listening to this, and if you're watching this on YouTube, we'll throw up some video footage of your event.
Yeah.
The types of clientele that are in that room, what their challenges are, how you help them, the price point they pay, and the community that you've built, and why you do these live events for an online coaching business.
Yeah, I mean, the most common challenges with entrepreneurs, business owners, etc., is time, outdated training methods. They're still trying to train how They used to train in their 20s, bro splits, chest, back, legs, arms. It doesn't work for someone who can only work out 3 or 4 times a week, has a business to think about, they're married, they've got kids. So where we are exceptional is helping them look at what their current as-is process and then optimize their system to take them to where they want to be. So very simply put, we look at every single aspect of their food, their training, their lifestyle management, their habits, basically how they operate their current calendar, and then improve, how they train so they're training less but better. Look at what they're doing with their food and how can we make the way they manage their food more complementary to the day-to-day lifestyle, because entrepreneurs, business owners, relying on diet plans and living out of Tupperwares just doesn't work over a 52-week period. And then a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, they're dealing with stress. They've got decisions to make all the time in business. There's last-minute curveballs, and stress. Your emotional state influences your decisions. So we're very, very sort of aware and hand-hold in that respect to help our clients make better decisions, because ultimately, whether you're a business owner or entrepreneur or not, how you look and how you feel and how healthy you are is a byproduct of your decisions. So we want to make sure that day-to-day, week-to-week lifestyle management through ruthless accountability, really structured plan, the education, the support, is making their decision-making in relation to training, food and movement so simple in relation to the outcome they want and the body they want.
This live event that I attended, you could have easily not done it. You could have easily hired a very standard hotel. I was very impressed with the caliber of the speakers, the environment that you had, and then having the conversations with your clients to find out a little bit more about them and their goals and their passions and their why. So to answer that question, why do you do these live events?
For me, the reason I do live events and live events to the standards I do, I believe one of the key things to creating lasting change, and this is the difference in what we do, it's not some quick fix, rent a body attitude, which is failing so many people, especially entrepreneurs. To create lasting change, the missing link is an environment where the mentality and the identity is that of a high performance attitude, where the common sense of belonging and attitude is people who want to stay in shape for 52 weeks of the year. Create an environment where people can bounce off ideas, make new connections and upgrade their peer group has helped immensely every single person who's ever invested in us to get and stay in shape. For me, people are coming to us initially from their mindset to change physically, but the beauty of the community we have and the ongoing support, that's what really helps take someone's identity, mentality, and consistent lifestyle management habits to a totally different level, because it's the norm. Because the reason so many business owners and entrepreneurs are struggling or forever yo-yoing, it's because of their immediate environment, where the people they spend time with, whether it's their work colleagues, their team members, maybe even partners, they don't have the aspirations to be as healthy or have maybe the physical shape that they want to. So if you don't have that current environment immediately access to you, then that's where these in-person events and our virtual community is absolutely imperative. And the reason we go to the expense and go the extra mile, as you've seen with our events in terms of locations, speakers, I just want to give a 5-star experience and some to every single person who trusts me with their investment. It's, for me, I'm not just trying to create a world-class physical result, I'm trying to create life-changing experiences. And the events we have in Dubai, London, America, it certainly does that.
So it's very easy, I think, for gym owners or online coaches to just forget that community element and go, oh, you know what, our gym's so good, our online training program's so good, we get people results, and then they just forget about the community element and the connections that happen in the room, the conversations. And what I noticed was it wasn't the Kirk Miller show,
No.
your name was hardly mentioned. It was the people speaking about their results and their challenges, their obstacles they've overcome, and referring to each other in the room and the friendships that they've built. Because and we'll talk about your clients in a second, but maybe their families don't understand, their friends don't understand because they're not business owners or entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But everyone else in that room does understand that high performance is key if you want to succeed in any area of life. So let's talk about some of the transformations that your clients have had. We'll flash up some pictures or videos of them on YouTube. So just tell me like the problem that they were facing, how quickly the results occurred, and then the ongoing like part that you're playing in their life.
Yeah, I mean, there's many examples, but one that comes to mind in a particularly challenging industry to get and stay in shape is David Myers. He's a world-leading celebrity chef and entrepreneur. He's been on TV with the likes of Gordon Ramsay, very high-profile figure, and he's a Michelin-starred chef. So
you said this guy like literally private jet to different people's homes or restaurants to cook amazing meals, right? And
he's one of the best chefs on the planet, and from what I can gather in that industry, you don't get Michelin stars dished out. But let's get clear here on the industry is in, it's food. And the biggest challenge that people have to get and stay in shape is managing food. That problem and challenge is amplified when someone's a chef and having to taste test and things like that. But David came to us after trying for over 2 decades and having worked with multiple personal trainers, online trainers, and hired the best and celebrity trainers, all this stuff, but still wasn't where he wanted to be. And the difference was, and David has vouched for this on our site and testimonial, so you don't have to take my word for it, it was the attention to detail with the way we plan, with the way we communicate, and the way we solve problems and challenges at speed. A major point of what we do, Ben, is the personal accountability, because again, I'm friends with a lot of great coaches, but I also know there's a lot of poor coaches out there who claim they have accountability for their clients. Our accountability is second to none. I mean, we have stats and data and systems for absolutely everything. So there's no winging a result with people like David. We are helping him forward plan week to week, wherever he's in the world, whatever decisions he has with his eating, with his travel, with his food, how he has to adapt in hotels. And that's, for me, what a great service does. You remove any excuses. Like my personal standard with the way we've created our model, our plan, our program, our service, our systems, our community, is to make sure that anyone who comes on my ship, they have zero excuses why they can't get and even surpass their expectations of the results they've invested in.
And how do you frame that to the customer that comes on board with you? Are you in the sales call laying down the road of like, hey, this is how we operate and you have to adhere to these rules, or do you do it on the onboarding process? Does it start in the marketing? Where does it start for you? Are you framing it to the customer like this is how you operate once you come inside the Built to Last program, or is it more you're just hoping that they're a good fit from the outside?
No, I believe my sort of setting the expectation and standards, and hopefully this comes through on my social media, is my message is congruent from the front end on social media or wherever you're trying to attract new clients, or at least create awareness of what you do, to the back end and the internal side of things within the program, and our coaching service. I'm setting that message from the start to the finish, because one, I'm not telling lies, and two, I know what works. But then, of course, when you are onboarding a specific client, then you set an expectation, because I believe that someone getting the result they want, it starts from that first point of personal contact. And as I say to them on that call, whenever I've been involved in sales, I don't want to waste people's money on my time. I have no interest in that. I don't want clients. I want client success stories. And I think even saying that with certainty, with conviction and belief, that gives a potential client belief that, okay, this coaching service or this coach Kirk doesn't necessarily need me, but he gives a shit. And I think that's what I'm trying to do from the get-go, really, is just set the expectation, and also give anyone who trusts me and my team with their investment unwavering belief that if they do what we ask them to do, it's impossible for them to fail. It's impossible. And my promise to any single client who trusts me with their investment is, once they work with me, my team, and within that Built to Last program and community, they will never need to invest in their health and fitness again. I don't believe health and fitness is that complicated. There's a lot of bullshit out there on social media and quick fix and the latest gimmick. I've been in shape for over 3 decades, well, my whole life, in fact, but since I left school, nearly 3 decades. I know what works, and that's in spite of moving from Coventry to London to Dubai and managing lifestyle and all this stuff. And I want to teach my clients to do the same. And it's not that complicated. What we're doing from our program perspective, and I say this from the start, is literally they are outsourcing their thinking in the areas of food, training, lifestyle management, so they can focus on what they love to do, which is business and family. Because no matter how successful you are, you only have a certain level of bandwidth to make decisions. So even though we've got the community, the events, the education, the bread and butter of what we do, which gets people in fantastic shape, is help them on a week-to-week basis, train efficiently and consistently, eat well, and make sure that what the food they put in their mouth is complementary to the body they want, the health they want, and help them manage sleep, food, and stress and things like that.
Give me one more success story of someone who's transformed in the program.
There's lots. There's lots. I would say one of our most impressive, purely because of his age to date, is John Hockaday. 60 years of age. Like, if you look at that man's transformation, right, I haven't seen many 60-year-olds who run their own business, who have children, have a wife, have challenges, day-to-day challenges in business and life, look like that and get a six-pack like that. And to be fully transparent, our clientele are typically 40, 50 and 60. They're not coming to us to get shredded six-packs or do a shoot. But the impact we had on John Hockaday inspired him that much that he actually said, I want to do a shoot for my 60th birthday. We'd never forced to do a 60-year-old to do a shoot when they've got a lot going on in their life. But we inspired him that much. And he was that happy with our service after years of working with personal trainers and online trainers that he said, I want to do a shoot because I feel that good. And that transformation, I'm yet to see a better 60-year-old transformation on the planet in the world of online coaching. Let's get clear here. I've never personal trained him, but because of how thorough our model is, even within in the coaching app where we house our clients' plans, Ben, we have videos of every exercise, sub 60 seconds, so they're efficient, demonstrated by me, so technique is perfect. So there's no guesswork of, am I doing this right? And even then, we'll make John or whatever client it is send videos back and forth until that's perfect. And the same with food, just the attention to detail. And that was another major play in John's transformation, was the attention to detail and helping him manage holidays, weekends, Easter, Christmases. And this is a major point, a major difference in what we do inside Built to Last is helping clients with their food in particular on weekends, holidays, Easters, Christmas, special occasions. Because as I've said to every single client who's come on board, and I believe if you listen to this, struggling with your health and fitness, it's probably because of this reason. It's not because of how structured and well you eat Monday to Thursday when you're at home and you've got no challenges, or you got your partner making your food. It's weekends, holidays, Christmases, and we are, again, ruthless with our accountability and forward planning with our clients in the decision making in these areas, whether it is helping a client via voice note, video, personal call, or a resource which is even quicker for the client when they're at certain restaurants and airports, or even a video training if it's somewhat more complex. We don't care what bullet we have to shoot to solve the problem, but we've got an answer for everything. If not, I'll go and find one.
What is funny about that story is I personally know John. So John lives in this town, and we hired him in his business to help us behind the scenes at Fitness Marketing Agency. And then he was the one who was like, hey, have you heard of Kirk Miller? I was like, yeah, I have. And then I watched him transform. I saw it firsthand over, it wasn't a quick, short fix. It was a long process, but he massively changed his life. And it's just funny how, we're all connected some way, and he did amazing. At the event that I was at in London at Mayfair Hotel, you had client awards.
Yeah.
So just touch upon maybe one of those awards that you gave out, and just highlight one of those clients.
Yeah. I mean, one that comes to mind from my event is Luke Bland. So Luke Bland, very successful business, again, married, children, came to me, like a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, very all or nothing character. It's a very common trait in business owners and entrepreneur. They're either doing something or they're not. He was the perfect archetype of that, of when he trained well, but equally when he used to go out with his friends, he wasn't very good at stopping at 2 beers. And I know,
sounds like me.
Yeah, join the club. Right? But no, he had, he'd say this himself, massive challenges with a few things. One, with his training, he trained okay, but technique wasn't where it needed to be. So he was scratching his head, why am I not getting stronger? Why am I not changing certain areas? And then with his food, again, the attention to detail wasn't there. But bigger than that, it was his weekend habits. Because after a long week at work, he'd be stressed and wanted to let his hair down, and his release was alcohol. He just didn't know when to stop. But an even bigger challenge than that was he'd outgrown his peer group. With the greatest respect to his friends constantly living for the weekend, not remotely interested in health and fitness. Luke was different. He knew in his heart that he loved training, really wanted to make a change and shift that identity to another level. And deep down, he didn't want to be in pubs and restaurants and eating and drinking the way he was. But that's where our community has been absolutely invaluable for him. And he shared that on stage, of the impact the community's had. And like you said, Ben, it's not the Kirk Miller show anymore. With the greatest respect to my previous personal training career, yes, I could, even if someone would see me 5 times a week, you can have the 5 best sessions of your life, but it doesn't help manage the 168 hours minus training, minus sleep outside of that. And I certainly didn't have the support team that I have, Ben. I mean, my team is absolutely exceptional, all bar a couple of ex-professional footballers I played at Coventry with them. There's a different mentality when someone comes from a professional sports background. And as you saw at the event is full of so many industry leaders in their profession, but people have achieved even more than me in life to date. Ben, I'm not lucky enough to be a father yet, as much as fingers crossed that'll happen soon. But so many of them clients have achieved way more in business and life experiences than me. So it's the collection of myself, the team, and that collective energy and ambition and openness to share how tips and tricks and things that have worked that has helped rub off on Luke on such a level. I mean, his mentality's gone to another level. His physique, of course, has gone to another level. But it's a mindset. If people want lasting change, it has to be who you are, what you do, and how you see yourself. And I truly believe that the model we have inside Built to Last, with our delivery, our system, our community, our program, the events, it helps do that. Because lasting change is key. I just have no interest in helping someone change short term for 6, 8, 12 weeks. It has to be how someone operates across a calendar year. Because I genuinely believe that given the choice, if I look any single person in the eye and said to them, do you want to be healthy and in shape every week of the year, would you take it? They'd all say yes, but people don't know how. And that's where we come in.
I think there's levels to everything in life, business, personal health and fitness. And sometimes people can just coast and they think they're doing really well with their health and fitness or their business. And then it's not until you get into another room and you unlock and you see what's possible and you realize, actually, I could, with some mentorship, with some help, unlock that next level, be it business or health and fitness. Going back to the start, I'm sure everyone listening or watching this would love to know, what was your programming, how did you get in that shape for men's health? Like, what was you training? What was you eating? What body fat percentage were you at? And then fast forward 20 more years, you're now at 40.
Yeah.
What does your training and lifestyle and how do you manage everything?
Yeah, no, great question. So when I played at Coventry when I was a professional footballer, that was around the time I sort of started getting into the gym. But because of my football, I'd maybe train 2-3 times a week or whenever you could around football. When that chapter closed, like a lot of guys when they first go in the gym, and there's nothing wrong with this, by the way, I believe every training system works if you're consistent with it, but I believe certain training systems don't work in relation to certain lifestyles, as I'll share in a second. So when I first started in the gym, it was very much the bro split. I was training 6 days a week, chest, back, hamstrings, arms, shoulders, quads, I think something like that. And I used to eat 6-7 times a day out of Tupperware. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. If that's conducive to your lifestyle and you enjoy it and it keeps you in shape, by all means, crack on with that. I just have no desire to do that, right? But that was 6 meals a day every 3 hours. And I don't know if you were like this, but I was that paranoid that if I was 10 minutes out, thinking, God, I'm going to ruin my physique. It's certainly not the case. But the reason that was my training system and the way I managed my food at that point, that was a product of my environment. And I speak about environment a lot. I trained in a bodybuilding gym where the only way that people knew how to get in shape was because of the more experienced gym goers who were in shape for that reason in that gym. So you're listening to people who have tried and trusted methods, which is true, but that's for bodybuilders who want to step on a stage and look good for 10 minutes and then bulk up and look shit, to put it bluntly, for 4 months a year. I have no aspirations of doing that. And that's one thing, even though I've adapted my system, I was always someone from a very early age that never wanted to be out of shape. It just didn't make me feel good. Even when I've done like short periods of mini bulks, it didn't really make me happy being lethargic and having to force feed and stuff like that. So I would say that way of training and food was that continued for a number of years. I'd say for the large part of my 20s and maybe even early 30s.
Easy to do though when you're young.
It is. Absolutely. So when you're young, right, all you have to think about is yourself. Maybe I had a couple of girlfriends, but I wasn't exactly looking to settle down at that point. So you've got loads of time to do that.
You do like 2-3 hour gym sessions?
I did, yeah. One thing I didn't share there is not only did I do 6 days a week in the gym weights, I don't know if you've done this, I literally used to do, I remember the most extreme was I'd go to the gym in the morning, I'd do interval sprints on a stair climber, anywhere from 10 to 20 every morning, or 5-6 mornings. Then I'd do my plumbing job when I was doing that. Then I'd finish plumbing, I'd do a weight session, then I'd do more cardio. And bearing in mind, my knowledge on food wasn't what it was then, so I was under eating during the week, then overeating the weekend, binging a little bit. But that system is absolutely unsustainable for the majority of human, but especially an entrepreneur and business owner. So then when I moved from Coventry to London, I still wanted the same outcome of being in shape, being ripped, being strong, being able to perform. But I knew that system didn't allow me to do that, because I realised, hang on, I'm getting busier at work, I'm travelling, and also I'm pretty sick of living out of Tupperwares. But how can I achieve the same outcome? And this is where I look at my training and went, okay, I don't want to lift 6 days a week. I also want to be a little bit fitter now, perhaps. And then I just evolved with my programming and just simply become more efficient with the way I trained. Then went to periods of maybe push, pull, legs and arms and stuff. And then with my food, brought down my meal frequency. As opposed to eating 6 or 7 smaller meals, I'd eat 3 or 4. But that was more complementary to my London lifestyle. And then that's where I met my now fiance, Gabby. And, you've got more business meetings and clients and stuff like that. So that worked in London. And then since then, I've moved to Dubai and travel a lot more. And then in Dubai now, the way I train, it's very much full body. I believe that is significantly more efficient for every single entrepreneur, business owner, executive on the planet, because, and I have evidence of this, when you do a bro split or that old method that worked in your 20s, especially as a entrepreneur, business owner with very all or nothing obsessive characters, if they miss a workout, they feel like they've failed, and then the fuck it mentality comes in. And then that's when, usually if people miss a workout and they're stressed and it isn't perfect, then they start eating shit. So it's a yo-yo cycle.
You sum me up.
There's no judgment. But it's like night and day. I've seen it over and over again. But the beauty of a full body training system when you are in your late 30s, 40s, 50s and 60s is you can achieve more in less time. They're more malleable wherever you train, wherever you're based, and whatever obstacles you might have in terms of equipment and stuff like that. They're just totally more malleable. And our clientele, so many of them have come to us with back problems. I believe that's because there's been a major imbalance in their training. Of course, lifestyle habits too. The way we structure the full body training and the attention to detail, we have train people out of pain by getting strong and just structuring workouts properly. And then with my food is very, very simple. I try and prep as minimal as I possibly can. 80% of my food is outsourced to Deliveroo, and people might be thinking, Deliveroo, whether you outsource your food to Deliveroo or you eat out at restaurants, as long as you know what to choose off Deliveroo and what to choose in restaurants, you can totally get and stay in phenomenal shape. And I don't want to pat on the back for it. I'm just doing my job, but I'm living testament to that, as are our clientele. It's just not good use of my time making food, and to be brutally honest, I'm not very good at it. I choose not to be good at it, and I'd rather focus my time, just like my clients, on business, team, making money, and doing more valuable things that I'm good at.
Do you drink?
I do, but I go through periods where I'm not. I could, like this year, for example, Ben. Last year, I didn't drink for 9.5 months just because I just had a big year. Didn't want to, drink too much. I had my 40th, so I come out of retirement for my 40th. I'm still very, very good at having 20 drinks, even if I've had a period of 3 or 4 where I'm not. So I'm very much probably still, when I do dip my toe in it, a binge drinker. But I believe letting some steam off a few times a year is no problem when you're that structured with your training, your food around that. It's just, I've realised this year that's one of the things that helps me sort of decompress, because I'm so focused and obsessed with business and training and things like that.
You touched upon it previously. Phil Graham is a friend of Fitness Marketing Agency, and he massively impacted you and your business.
Yeah.
Can you just touch upon how he helped you, and then why it's important to get mentorship and help from people in all areas of your life where you feel that you could be more and do more?
Yeah, I think the reason having mentorship, peers, whatever you want to call them, is so important. You're buying solutions at speed. They allow you to get from where you are to where you want to be quicker, more efficiently, usually with less stress. And they teach you what you don't know, especially if they've got evidence that they can achieve what you haven't yet. So I believe mentorship for me has been absolutely imperative, not just in business, but if I look at the knowledge I have now as a coach, I've had some phenomenal mentors or even training partners, Ben, that have added a little bit of layer of knowledge or expertise across food training, all these little things. When someone has been there, got the t-shirt, or who has strengths that you don't have, you can implement those traits, behaviors and skill sets into your identity and your presence as a businessman, or even with a body. So yeah, for me, I think it's absolutely imperative. You can get to where you want to get to slow if you try and do it yourself, or you can get to where you want to get to quicker just by looking at who has the stack of proof, the evidence that they can get results in the areas that you want results. Mirror that, of course, merge it with your own style, if that's your thing, but success leaves clues. And I think if, for example, you're listening to this and you're a coach who is still stuck in the same place, or you've been in the same spot for at least a year or two, and you've been trying multiple different things and it's not working, then look at who in that area has the success that you want and lean on them, whether you invest or, it's got to be done. Same with body. The amount of people that have tried to, by themselves, at the age of 40, to master training of food, but they're still not where they want to be. It's just basic logic. If you keep doing the same and expect to be in a different place in a year's time, it's mental. So one key question I ask myself in business, in body, and even just on a personal standpoint in life is, if I keep doing what I'm currently doing, will my life get better in a year's time, or will I stand still? And if I don't have certainty that what I'm currently doing is going to take me to where I want to be, then I think who, not how, and try and find the solution.
What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see in the fitness industry from gym owners, from coaches, in terms of their prescription of exercise or nutrition, or what they're charging, or what they're offering as an actual product or service? What are some of the mistakes that you see having all of this experience and building the business that you have today?
I mean, that could be a really open-ended question. It's a great question. I think some of the mistakes or the first port of call that I see with a lot of people maybe struggling with marketing or struggling to grow a business is that they don't stay in shape. I know that sounds very basic, right? But if you're asking people through your marketing or on a sales call to join your program to get and stay in shape, and you can't do it yourself, that's going to create a whole host of problems. One, your message on the front end, no matter what mentor you have who's told you to write this marketing post, doesn't work. There's so much competition out there now, Ben, in personal training, online coaching, gyms. So for me, it's the minimum requirement to be in shape, because one, that's going to help you with your marketing. Two, it's going to help you sell with more conviction. And three, it's just going to help you grab more attention. So that's a massive problem I see. And then,
I think it's going back to what you said earlier when you was in plumbing, and for some people, plumbing, they love it.
Yeah.
They wake up for it.
Yeah.
It's their passion, and they've built a significant business off of it. But what I see, touching on what you've just said, is some people in this industry, they're dead behind the eyes. They've fallen out of love of the process of helping other people, and then they've stopped themselves as well. And it's not saying that everyone has to be an elite percent of body fat.
No, they don't. No. But as I said, because as I say, there's performance goals. I mean, one of the things with my own training at the minute, I'm training for a Hyrox now, that me being as lean as I possibly am in certain shoots is not effective when you're training for performance. You need a bit more body fat, you need more power, you need more strength. So I'm not trying to say you need to be shredded by any means, because equally, I've been the person that has been, for I'd say a 2 to 3 year period after winning the men's health competition, so paranoid that I wasn't going to continually get all these covers, which I had, that I had to stay so shredded because I'd created a story in my mind, because I'd come from a place of pain of being in that job that I hated, that I was only getting these opportunities because I was actually shredded. So it's not about being shredded, but as a coach, you have to be active in the gym and leading by example, whatever that looks like for you. You can't, okay, maybe this is my own personal standard. I will never have a client who trains harder than me, who is more consistent than me, and that rubs off. I believe the leader has to set the standard. And we've got many leaders within our program where we've passed the baton now, but I don't let the standard drop from a personal standpoint.
You have to eat your own dog food, right?
I've never heard that. I've never heard that statement. It's true, but that's where the confidence and the belief comes. In the marketing and the sales, and I think the trap many coaches and gyms and personal trainers have fell into, that they're constantly on the lookout for the greatest marketing tactic, and looking for the best marketing agency. But you have to have the tools for that marketing agency or for the people that help grow in your business, for them, give them something to work with. And that comes from being in shape, having a great product, and having the infrastructure, to handle more clients and things like that. So it's...
Because it doesn't matter how good the marketing agency, the mentor, the consultant is, if they're trying to market a product that's dead.
It's a result, exactly. Like you can, so many people, I've seen it happen, Ben, have come in and out of this industry like you would not believe over the last, I've been in the industry now a long time, and I've seen so many come and go because they couldn't stay in shape, they weren't consistent, and they weren't prepared to invest in their skill set or become more valuable, not just with themselves, but with hiring help.
So they just blend in the next coach, the next
They do.
trainer,
They don't want to invest,
gym.
but you're trying to charge whatever you're trying to charge with your coaching, but you're not prepared to invest to become more valuable, to deliver on that result that and back up the price that maybe you're asking to charge. And I just think as well, I'm speaking from experience here, and having had some challenges myself, and one of the biggest challenges a lot of people have is they try and do everything themselves. Literally, they're not prepared to put their ego away and ask for help or pay for help. And I think one of the greatest things that's helped me, I remember seeing it on a Tony Robbins Forbes interview, and it's always stuck with me, is in business, ask yourself, who are you and who do you need? And I've realised through a lot of ups and downs, I'm sure you've done the same, like there are certain things that I'm good at and I'm strong at, and there are certain things that I'm not so strong at and I have no passion for. And just as you touched on a second ago, I really believe that the reason why a lot of people fall out of love with coaching, and I was very close to doing this, is because they are wearing too many caps in their business, and they haven't expanded their model and service and maybe developed a community to give them more enjoyment. So for example, Ben, I would go as far as saying if I was still on the gym floor solely personal training, there's a chance that I would have fell out of love with this industry. Because when I was, packed with personal training, but knowing how can I help more people, how can I create more longevity as a career with this, I knew that me just personal training was not going to make that happen. So then the beauty of investing in help, for example, with the likes of Phil, where you improve your model, you improve your systems, you improve your team, you improve your community, you create events like you've seen, it gives you a whole new level of enjoyment. And you go from being a personal trainer, a glamorized rep counter, in my opinion, right, to then helping someone genuinely transform their life and develop connections and relationships with people. You get a new lease of life. But what it takes to get there is, and this is where I won't sugarcoat it, is investment, time, patience, becoming more valuable, upgrading your skill set, realizing that some people are better than you at certain things. So for example, in terms of our product delivery, I was getting great results before we had a qualified nutritionist, because I understand food. Obviously I've been in shape and stuff and transforming people. But then I've got a world-class nutrition coach now, Chris, who oversees all of our nutrition strategies. He's worked with elite level rugby players, football players, professional athletes. So him managing day-to-day entrepreneurs and business owners is very comfortable, but he upgraded the standard of our service and product. But I had to invest in that and also put my ego away. A lot of coaches won't do that. They think they know everything, and you'll just stand still and go around in circles. And then my coaching team, I've got a world-class coaching team. I don't have children yet. Many of my coaches have children, so they know how to relate to certain challenges and problems related to our clients who've got children. And then I also realised, as we've developed our product and service, that there are certain things which influence the implementation of our program, such as sleep, breathing, mindset, psychology. I've brought in world-leading sleep experts, Nick Littlehales, to deliver trainings. Spent a lot of money on that. Why? That's going to help my clients look, feel and perform better and deal with challenges, kids keeping them awake, travel. But it costs money. I found out who's the best. I stay in my lane because I'm no sleep guru. Same with breathing. People think, why would you invest in breathing for a program? Well, how you breathe affects your state, and how you manage your state affects your decisions. And ultimately, the body helping a client build is going to be a byproduct of our decisions. So, simply put, with my product and delivery, Ben, I don't care what I need to do, who I need to bring in from a team perspective, service perspective, system perspective, to create a world-class result with a client, which far exceeds anything they ever thought they could achieve, and maybe where they've been let down in the past by previous coaching services.
You are prolific on Instagram. Can you just give some insight to what you do, your structure, the content that you put out, and how you've grown the business that you have today through that platform?
Yeah, so with social media, I've hired, paid for a videographer. I have a videographer who films me at least 8 times a month. We plan the content, we shoot the content, so the quality of that footage is better. Of course, I have raw stuff too, and then from the content we create, then that is passed on to another company we work with who are doing a great job, who edit the content, chop up the content. And then from there, of course, it goes onto a social media platform. It's organised, it's structured, it's forward planned. Of course, you might have to make changes and stuff, as the market changes, or you've got raw off the cuff posts, but it's just trying to be as efficient as possible with, okay, what is my biggest value to social media content, which is talking, training, leading, sort of spreading that message. But with the greatest respect, me editing videos and shooting the content from professional cameras, it comes back to what I said, Ben. You can only do so much, and yes, this costs money and letting go of control, but I believe to build something special, and I want to build, the world's #1 brand for entrepreneurs, business owners, in terms of a health and lifestyle management business, then you need people who are better than you in other areas, and definitely when it comes to shooting content, chopping up content, all that stuff, then one, I don't want to do it. Two, I'm not very good at it. And three, by outsourcing that, it allows me to create more content at speed, which is why you see me so consistent now on social media.
What's your frequency of posting across all social media? And then is there like one piece of content that always pops versus others in terms of likes, comments, DMs?
A great question. So we make sure we post every single day, once a day minimum on main across all platforms, active on stories, of course, too. In terms of content that we find pops, in terms of getting leads, nothing is going to get potential prospects on book calls and things like that more than social proof, period. When you have conveyor belts of evidence that the message you are saying on social media about helping people, when you've got evidence that relates to that potential prospect and ideal client, nothing's going to instigate a conversation more, or a like, or a DM, or an application form on the website. Alongside that, I think it's simply demonstrating all the different facets and tips and value around training and food as well, that is maybe been a challenge or a problem, in a potential prospect's mind as well. So yeah, there's multiple different things, really, Ben, around training food, but relatable posts as well. Just people seeing the human side to you, I think is something that whenever I've had periods where I haven't put, I don't know, life pictures or life videos, and it's gone a bit too military with just training food, then that can, as Gabby tells me sometimes, she says, come across a bit too intense and serious.
And Gabby's your partner?
Yes. Yeah.
I saw a great picture of you guys. Yeah.
Well, as she reminds me, I mean, what's interesting, if you look at my social media images and pictures, I think just going back to what I just said, some of my highest engagement posts, if not all of them, were with Gabby. Obviously, when I got engaged, and then there's some personal posts, and so yeah, some of my highest performing posts have been with Gabby. Of course,
non-stage, like natural.
Non-stage, natural, and look, even if I've done filming though, Ben, with my videographer, which some might say that's staged, it's not. One thing I prided myself on social media is just consistently telling the truth. I'm not telling lies. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I tell the truth. So if anyone was to potentially invest in us, I know from the bottom of my heart and hardwired into my DNA that I'm not telling lies. I'm not trying to preach something that I know doesn't work based on my current experience and results. So the one thing I try to pride myself on with social media is just telling the truth, adding as much value as possible. Same with my podcast and my YouTube, the amount of free content that I pump out is a lot. Podcast every week, YouTube's 2 every week. It's a lot of content, but I want to provide that much free value that when people are in pain enough, or they're searching for a solution, the time is right for them, then I'd like to think, especially in my niche and space, that there's only one option they're looking for.
The biggest takeaway for me from this segment is people will buy from people, but people will buy quicker from people that are real. And by you showing up on social media real, and not this polished version, sharing the ups, sharing the downs, is when people will just like connect with you quicker, and then they're going to comment, they're going to DM, and then they're going to inquire, book a call, and go through the process.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, if I go back to the men's health days, when I won that competition, I mean, I was 26 at the time. I genuinely believe the reason I won that, aside from the 6-pack and maybe they like the way I look on the cover, there were 7 of us who made that final, and they had an article that went with the pictures, a story about the cover model, and they asked us certain questions on how do you relax, how do you live outside of the gym and the Tupperware boxes, and I was just brutally honest. I mean, when some of the other guys got asked that question about, how do they relax? I mean, I think there was someone who said they they have 2 squares of dark chocolate and some grapes to give themselves a sweet treat. I'm like, you're actually being serious here, you know, whereas it was just one of them, Ben, and this is where I've always tried to be so relatable, and I literally said, like, when I train, when I relax, and yes, it was a bit, you know, too extreme back then, but I think there was clues back then to winning that men's health, because they loved the story and the raw and the realness and the relatability, and I've tried to carry that through as much as possible, because if I compare myself to a lot of people who've been in the industry the last 20 years, I've never had aspirations to get on stage and do some of these competitions or bodybuilding comps. And again, it's nothing personal. I just never had aspirations to put on a pair of pants and look good for 10 minutes. I wanted to be the guy that was in shape all year round, with a life, with a social life, maybe having a drink or 10 every now and then, and also eating what I wanted at the weekend within reason, but never being off it, and just showing, whatever the age, whatever location I've been in, that you can get and stay in shape wherever you are, and showing that side, that you don't have to be perfect. As I say to my clients, in order to get and stay in shape, and this is a part of the ethos inside Built to Last, is it's better to be consistently progressing, however small, than to be inconsistently perfect. And I think one of the things that kills so many people's aspirations of getting and staying in shape is they're too busy waiting for these perfect conditions, this block of time where they've got no work, they've got no challenges, they've got no curveballs. It's nonsense.
I'll get started after the holiday. I'll get started once my baby's born.
It's garbage. I mean, we signed someone up a couple of weeks ago who said, "Kirk, do you think I'm best starting at the start of February? Because, you know, I'm away in a couple of weeks." And I said to him, do you have aspirations of going away in January, if this is a yearly thing, for the next 40 years? And he said, yes. I said, so would you like to know how to manage your training of food on holidays like this? So if you ever do decide to leave our ship, you know exactly how to handle these over the next 40 years. Would you like to know how to do that? Yes. Okay, cool. How do you expect to learn to know how to manage this if we don't get started during this period? So it's very logical, Ben, because again, I'm yet to coach an entrepreneur, a business owner who has this perfect week. I mean, actually, I asked a question at the event that you attended. I said to all the people in the room, raise your hand if you've had a week this year where nothing's gone wrong. And there wasn't one person who raised their hand, whether it's a professional curveball, a physical curveball, a financial curveball. Simply put, something where there's a week where nothing went wrong. It doesn't happen. And especially as we get older and you got more pressures and people to think about, more travel, you know, so we just want to make sure that, you know, my service and leading from the top, that it doesn't matter where you are, whatever challenges you face, you know, that we always find a way. That's what we do.
What you just dropped there was so valuable. So many gym owners, online coaches, they get that excuse all the time. Oh, this is great, but I will start when, insert excuse. And the way you challenge that person's thinking logically.
But you need to, whether you're on a sales call or whether you've got a client knee deep in the coaching program, you're being paid to push. You're being paid to push people to a standard that they previously haven't had. Like, a client isn't investing you for a yes man. If they want a best mate, I'm sure they've got many of them already. So even though I build a phenomenal relationship with all of my clients, as you saw at the event, it never deviates from the fact that people are paying us first and foremost for a result they've not been able to achieve. And we are doing them a disservice if we don't tell them the truth or override objections and bullshit. Because there's usually 3 reasons why people, in my opinion, don't transform or can't stay in shape. It's either a will issue, a skill issue, or an environment issue. So whatever sort of solution from those 3, I need to override or present a different solution.
What do you mean by will?
Will is mindset, emotions, belief. So emotions and belief. I believe so many people do not transform because they don't believe they can. And they can't control their emotional state.
Because my genetics are this way. Because I used to play rugby, so I'm always going to be big.
Genetics, and when someone has failed multiple times on a certain journey, or they've been let down by a personal trainer or online coach, they can think the problem's them. And this is where, and this starts from the sales call process. If anyone's on board our ship, I don't care how many times people have failed if someone genuinely in their heart wants to change, as long as they have the structure, the skills, the sense of direction, the roadmap, and the accountability and support, anyone can change. And one thing I say to anyone doubting whether they, especially an entrepreneur, anyone doubting whether or not they have the mindset and the belief and the state management potential to get and stay in shape, I simply ask them a question of, tell me an area of life where at some point you did something you didn't think you were capable of. Now, for many entrepreneurs who have made millions, made a lot of money, or got to a certain level of status in their career, they've had to go through blood, sweat and tears and override limiting beliefs and challenges and stress over and over again to get to that position in their career. And if you've done it in one area, you can do it in another area. And we're just masters inside Built to Last at helping people realize they've already got all of that belief potential, that mindset within them, because they've demonstrated that. If you've run a business, you can handle stress, and you've got grit, you've got minerals. If you have bought, you've raised children, you've got grit, you've got adversity, you've dealt with last minute curveballs and life being not so perfect. But I think too many people do not realize that those same principles and identity traits are already within them. And when you pair those existing traits with structure, with plan, accountability and hand-holding and outsourcing the decision-making, unless someone genuinely in their heart didn't want to change, you can't fail. And I think that's a really important thing to, for people to realise. Everyone's got an area of life that however big or small, that they've pushed for adversity. And I just think that so many people aren't where they want to be because of their state management, their belief. And this is where what I'm trying to create with Built to Last, it's a fucking mentality. It's a mentality where it doesn't matter what you've done. It's a mentality where it's just what we do and who we're trying to become. Because, Ben, if it was as simple as training, food, sleep, water, steps, why is it that millions and millions and millions of people, especially entrepreneurs, aren't in shape? If it was as simple as that, then more people would be healthy. But they don't know how to manage the training, the food, the movement more effectively as they get older with more lifestyle pressures, or it's a state management issue, a belief issue, or an environment issue. And with our services, I Built to Last, as you saw at the event, training, food, movement, that's covered within a plan. That's a minimum requirement as a personal trainer, online coach, in my opinion. But when you've got the emotional support, the mental support, and then that environment, it's just another few pieces of the jigsaw that alleviates the risk of someone investing in you and not getting the result they came for.
How many clients do you have right now? What is the price point, the structure? And then you've mentioned team a few times. So
yeah.
Can you just go into the insights behind the scenes? Like, who is the team? What are their roles, responsibilities?
Yeah. So we have around now, inside Built to Last, around about 100 clients. And we've also just introduced a new program, which I haven't marketed yet, just for people who are not quite ready with Built to Last. But with inside Built to Last, we have about 100 clients. We're not a budget program. We're a premium service because we back it up. As you saw with the events, the service, the speakers, the team. But our price point now is £5,000 for the first 12 weeks, and then we drop down to £1,000 per 4 week from there. I don't take on anyone for less than a calendar year. Why? Because if someone hasn't managed to stay in shape across all seasons for at least a couple of years, if they've not been able to do that without us, then they need to learn to do that with us. And I know for some people, they might think, I can do this in 8, 12 weeks. Okay, my argument to that is how many 8 and 12 week programs have worked for you in the past? And I say that if you're someone who wants a short-term result, that's all well and good. But Built to Last, we work with people for 12 months to help them master across all seasons. And then once someone's worked with us for a calendar year, as long as they implement what we've asked them to do, they will never need to invest in their health and fitness again. And they'll know everything they need to do around training, food, lifestyle management forever. So if someone wanted to stay with us after a 12-month period, it's because they want to, not because they need to. And our retention rate is phenomenal. We've had clients who've been with us, 6, 7, 8 years, but that's because we're continually stretching vision and they just love outsourcing the decision-making in that area. So they've still got more time for business and family. But we want to make the client that well educated and sure of every single aspect of their health and fitness, that if they did decide to float their own ship, as I say, our ship is the last port of call. Now, when it comes to team, of course, we've got basic admin and design and videographers, as I've just said. But the most important aspect of a coaching service is the quality of your coaches and product. And for me, that is one of the things I'm most proud of. Everyone plays their part within a team in some way, shape, or form. But the attention to detail that we have within our coaching team, I believe, is as good as any on the planet. As I said, we've got people who are specialists in nutrition and background in professional sport. But yeah, we've got about 5 coaches now that are hands-on. And one of the things that's unique to us, we'll never have a client feeling like they're stretched. You can't have a client who feels like they're not heard or listened to. So the speed of response has to be there. And then, even though my role within the business has changed the last few years, I still, very much got a strong foothold on the coaching standards, involved in the weekly meetings and things like that. So, but yeah, that for me is the most important aspect of our service, because it's all right having the best marketing team in the world and the all these different aspects of business, but the coaching team is the most important. But like anything, I'm just trying to build a proper infrastructure and organisation now, bit by bit, just so, again, people are focused on their strengths and we can scale and we can not only get clients but keep clients long term. And there's so many different facets to make that happen.
What's the future hold for the business, and where do you see the industry going?
Great question. So in terms of my business, I'll just say as it is, I want my business, my service, my team to be, without question, the world's number one brand, service, coach and program for entrepreneurs, business owners, executives on the planet. When people think of lasting change, quality, covering all aspects of health and lifestyle management, and getting and keeping people in world-class shape, and more importantly, happy within themselves, and helping people become the person they've always been capable of, I want the business to stick out like a sore thumb, and of course, from a scalability perspective, help thousands and ideally millions of people on this earth to be healthy and happy.
Where do you see the industry heading?
In terms of the industry, I just believe the standards, as they have done the last couple of years, I just think that they're going to continually raise. As I've said earlier on this podcast, Ben, I think the minimum requirement now of a coach is to have a training plan and diet plan and create a physical result. But I believe the way the competition's evolved and consumers being a lot smarter now and having more choice, I believe that coaches and services who do not have a community, who do not invest in helping clients far beyond achieve a result, far beyond a physical result, are going to get left behind. I really do. I think people don't just want a physical result now. They want experiences as part of that service. They want a sense of belonging. They want things quicker. So you've got to evolve with technology and systems.
I feel people are willing to pay more to get the result quicker. So people are willing to invest in their health and fitness, especially after COVID.
Yeah.
They want the result, and they're fed up of paying out for multiple gym memberships or coaches and not just churning the hamster wheel and not getting that desired result. And if you've got a concept and a service and a community, then you can massively help people, because people do have the money, they are willing to invest, and they want that result quicker.
Yeah, well, 100%. People have got the money. I've said this to some clients who've joined Built to Last. If you can afford to pay business and first class flights and spend thousands of pounds on fucking Gucci bags and Valentino t-shirts, whatever people have no real interest in that, then you've got the money to look after your health and fitness. And the harsh reality is, a lot of people who are overweight, who are business owners and entrepreneurs, one of the reasons they're overweight is they spend money on food and alcohol in restaurants, 5-star restaurants, premium service restaurants, where you do not get to change out of £400-500 up to thousands or more to sit down for 1 hour and eat some food and drink some drinks. And if you think about first class flights and stuff, you know, it baffles me how some people are willing to pay 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 grand or more, maybe more if they're moving their family, for a 7-hour flight to New York, where they want to feel good for 6, 7 hours on the flight and drink the free champagne and feel like shit the other end of it. But they sometimes won't look at that same value on the health and fitness.
I can get this cheaper elsewhere, but then not get the result.
Yeah, listen, but cheapest and the best doesn't work. And I'm not sat on this podcast trying to say I'm the only great coach out there. I'm friends with some amazing coaches. I really am, who are in different niches. And yeah, we've got a lot of mutual friends ourselves, Ben, that are doing great things. But all of them have invested. All of them have invested in themselves, in team, put their ego away and realised that to grow a bigger entity, to grow a bigger service, let's get clear here. You know, I haven't expanded my team for my ego. It's just to expand, give a better experience and service to clients. And people will pay for that. You know, I'm testament to that. Even though I'm not a cheap service, I believe I am. If you look at the grand scheme of value on my life, if someone's paying over a calendar year £15,000, right, to work with us, but that person then can live a healthy life for the next 3 or 4 decades, what is that worth to that person? You distribute that cost, and not just cost, but when someone has their shit together with their food, their training, especially food, they're going to have less reactive spending, which means by default you're going to save more money. Because most entrepreneurs and business owners, when they overeat and drink, it's because they're stressed. Whereas if you've got structure in place that is minimizing stress and less reactive spending, you're going to build a better body, be healthier long term, and by default probably manage your money a little bit better anyway. So people have got the money, but I believe that where the industry's going, if you're trying to charge a lot of money and you don't deliver,
you get found out.
You will. And I just think whether it's what I do, whether it's what you do, or, you know, my friends in the industry, if you've been doing something for a decade, 2 decades, you can't fluke your way to that. So I believe if you are a coach who is scratching your head going, why is my business not where it needs to be? Ask yourself, hand on heart, are you in shape? Are you as consistent as what you say you are and are putting out on the front end? Are you investing in team? Are you continually looking at your product going, how can I have a better product? How can I go above and beyond for my clients a little bit more? How can I make the experience, the service better? If you can't say with certainty that you're taking the time to do that, then don't moan about not scaling or helping more people. And then, of course, from a physical standpoint, it just do not drop the standard. You know, it's something that I consider myself one of the most consistent on the planet, irrelevant of age and travel and circumstances. All this stuff is just being in great shape makes everything else easier, and then getting great results makes everything else easier. You can get as fancy as you want, but if you're in great shape yourself as a coach and your team are in great shape, which my team, I wouldn't have any coach who's not in shape, and you put money back into the business, great results, then you irrelevant of how the industry goes, if you're getting great results and you're staying in great shape and you're consistent with your marketing, I believe that you're going to have longevity in this career if that's what you want.
Kirk, has been very insightful. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Can you just tell everyone your Instagram handle, your website, so they can find out more?
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for having me. Really enjoyed the podcast. My social media is very simple, just Kirk Miller _. Fortunately, I didn't have someone's already taken the original Kirk Miller, but yeah, Kirk Miller, you'll find me. And then my website is kirkmiller.co.uk.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Fitness Marketing Agency podcast. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe so you can catch future episodes.